You giving me the high sign? Not yet? Okay. So I never know. I don't know what that means. Okay, now I know what that one means. Everyone logged in? We're gonna wait just a sec.
Is it Novus Agenda?
No, it's the board. It's Agenda's board portal.
Novus Agenda Board View?
That's the old one.
Agenda's Board.
I think it's like Civic Plus or something.
Zimmerman 123? No? Thank you. Appreciate you. All right. I now call to order the Thursday, July 9th, 2026 meeting of the City of Sugar Land Planning and Zoning Commission. Good evening, folks. Let's get going. We will start with item 3, public comment. Do we have anyone signed up tonight for public comment?
No, Chair, we do not.
All right. Item 4A, consideration of an action on the consideration of an action on the approval of the minutes of the July 25th, 2026 meeting. Those minutes, as always, are in your packets. Any discussion? All right, then I'll move to approve them. I've got a second from Commissioner Patel. Any further discussion? Please vote. Sources close to me say that's passed. We'll move on to item 5A, consideration of an action on the Rye Hill Section 4 final plat. Good evening, Ethan. How are you?
Good evening. All right. Okay. Yeah. So for tonight, I've got Rye Hill Section 4 for you guys, the final plat. Just do a quick overview on the Rye Hill development. So it's going to be located in our ETJ. It's a 958-acre master plan community with a mixed-use component as well. It's going to be a mix of approximately 2,300 single-family residential and Del Webb residential lots. And just a reminder, those single-family lots are going to be 40, 45, and 50 and 60-foot wide lots. And the Del Webb's going to be 40, 50, and 65-foot wide. There's the 60 acres of flex, the flex use north of 2759. Just a little refresher on what we're going to be looking at tonight. So that area in green is going to be Rye Hill Section 4. And yeah, we've been making some good progress on this map. So moving on to the final plat itself. So the preliminary was approved back in May of 2025 without any conditions. And the 1-year extension was just brought to you guys and approved on May 14th of this year. It's going to be 39.7 acres of single-family residential. It contains 177 lots, 9 reserves, and 4 blocks. They're going to be 45 and 50-foot wide lots, with the corner lots being an additional 10 feet wide. And then access to this section will be provided via Rye Hill Parkway. So here's a look at both pages of the plat itself. And then, so staff recommends approval of this section, of Rye Hill Section 4 final plat, and I'll be available for any questions if you guys have any at this time.
Thanks, Ethan. Questions for staff? Commissioner Tilden, any questions?
No questions for me.
All right, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just want to make sure you could hear us and had an opportunity to participate. I have a question. I think I got this from your presentation, but there are no changes to this relative to the preliminary plat. Is that right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? All right. I'll make a motion to approve the Rye Hill Section 4 final plat. Is there a second? I've got a second from Commissioner Patel. Any further discussion? Okay, please vote. All right, that passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have item 5B, consideration of and action on the Lake Point Green Section 1 preliminary plat. You are not Emily,
Indeed, I am not.
but we would love to hear from you anyway.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good evening, commissioners. Just to give you some background, we're going to delve into this just a little bit more tonight than we normally do, simply because this is in the Lake Point redevelopment district, and it's a very nuanced zoning district that we have. So a purpose that we have for preliminary plat is to provide that lot layout, street layout. In this case, instead of looking at minimum lot sizes, we're going to be looking at maximum lot sizes. What you'll see on there, you're going to have reserves. What you're not going to see on there, signature blocks, notes, and such. The box exhibit that you've probably noticed from your packets, either hard copy or electronic delivery, looks a little bit different than they normally look. And that's where we want to talk about looking at the maximum lot width that's at that front build line. And we're looking at that on, some of those lots that are like in cul-de-sacs or just things that are just non-perpendicular to a street. Lake Point Green is our new development. This is formerly the Floor campus. It has 52 acres of property, and it is located north of Highway 6 and west of 59, taking access from Creek Bend. This section, the redevelopment concept plan has townhomes, urban homes, and multifamily. The plat before you tonight, it has a mix of townhomes and both urban homes in it. This is an overview of the plat and its location. This is Creek Bend. These buildings show what was the floor building, and as you recall from your last workshop, there's been a good bit of demolition that you can see from aerials, and then this is where the Pearl is located. This is a 7.74 acre preliminary plat with 97 lots, 18 reserves, and 4 blocks in the Lake Point redevelopment district that's in the city limits. The next few slides, we're going to talk about just what are those nuances to the Lake Point code that we want to point out to you that's just different from looking at a typical R1Z or an R1 zoning district. This development has middle housing. Middle housing is what we refer to as our townhomes and our urban homes. Middle housing fronts on either a MU or a public street. When those lots are fronting either on a MU or a public street, they must have rear loaded or alley loaded garages that they have access from. The MUs are required to be 20 feet in width, and the alleys are required to be 18 feet in width. And this is an example from the plat that's before you tonight. Shady Brook Lane is the MU. You may ask, why does the MU have a name? But they're being addressed. They're addressed from the MUs. And then the alleys are specifically alleyway A, B, and C. And you can see from here that the MU is 20 and the alleys are 18 from this snippet. Other things to consider is the flexibility with the setbacks that we have in both the street side setback and the front. setback. We are looking at only that maximum build line or the MBL that's on there. So both with your street side setback and your front setback, you have between a 0 and a 20 foot. So the house can be anywhere from 0 or 20 feet back, but not more than 20. So that's why you'll just see it as a maximum. It can't exceed that, but the building itself can be placed anywhere in between. This is an example of that. So Lazy Lane this is the MU. The house is fronting on the MU, and now we have our 20-foot MBL that's there on the maximum setback. Other things to consider, the pedestrian realms. We talked a lot about pedestrian realms at the last workshop with you all. They are required on all the streets, including primary access easements within the development. They're divided up between type 1 and type 2 streets, whether that's a major collector or it's just a local street. And then the varying widths that we have. So when we are adjacent to residential with this middle housing, we're looking at a pedestrian realm of 16 feet and then 18 feet in the non-residential areas with those street types. The pedestrian realm consists of, just a reminder, pedestrian realm of 2 zones, your clear zone and both your pedestrian enhancement zone. The clear zone is exactly what it sounds like. It's meant to have the pedestrians with a clear pathway within there, within the realm. And then the pedestrian enhancement zone is where we're gonna have all our pedestrian size, like lighting, our street trees, our street furniture, etc. What's interesting to note about pedestrian realms is we also have a lot of flexibility in the code where this can be either on the private side or it can be on the public side. So you can have a pedestrian realm that is thoroughly located within the right-of-way. And this is an example that we've shown before of the pedestrian realm. We have our clear zone, pedestrian enhancement zone, and then street. This is a good example that would show what it looks like with non-residential, since we've gotten some shade structure that's provided within the clear zone. You may ask, why are you still talking about the pedestrian realm, Jessica? Well, there's a great reason for that. If you look at the plat that's before you tonight, anything that's located in block 1 that's facing on Creek Bend, you'll notice has a 5.5-foot building line. We talked a lot about maximum building lines, so you may wonder where that's coming from. That's come about because part of that pedestrian realm is on the private lots, and then the rest of it, which is Creek Bend here, will then be located within the right-of-way. So because of that, the buildings themselves, like the front face of those homes, can only go to 5.5 feet to accommodate that pedestrian realm, but then can't go further back than that max building line of like 20 feet. If y'all have any questions at any time, you can stop me. The box exhibit, we mentioned this was nuanced with showing the max of what those lot sizes can be. We've provided some examples from the box exhibit that show here in lot 5. You see on lot 5, there's no purple overlap that we see here between 22 and 21. That means that it's 40 feet. It's not exceeding at all. This is telling us that these lots are less than 40 feet because we're getting that overlap. So that's simply just the only thing that we're checking. It's a bit of a mind switch to kind of get around what we typically do for normal residential development. This is the redevelopment concept plan that was approved by City Council May 2025 and also recommended by you. Section 1 is located here in this yellow area with Creek Bend here to the north. And this is the preliminary plat that's before you tonight. We have Creek Bend here again to the north. This plat is having these like 3 right-of-ways that are within the development. Those right-of-ways are 48 feet in width, which is unique to the Lake Point Redevelopment District. Our alleys here, and then our mews that come between. We've got lots of reserves within this plat because we have lots of easements, whether that be center point easements, storm sewer easements, or water easements that are running through those, so plentiful on the reserves. You'll notice through that where you're fronting on these mews, you have your maximum building lines in that orientation. And then also something that you are accustomed to are the arrows that are on those plats that indicate what's going to be your zero lot line. I just wanted to point that out. Things have changed, obviously, since 2019, and at some point we will stop reminding you of this with House Bill 3167. You as the governing body can approve with conditions, or disapprove with conditions. They just must be cited what those conditions are, and you have a handy platting guide that can help you with any conditions if you feel that necessary. With all that being said, staff does recommend approval with no conditions with the Lake Point Green Section 1 preliminary plat. And if you have any questions, I am happy to answer those. We also have our engineer, Robert Wilson, here, and a representative from Lovett for questions, as well as their surveyor who prepared the plat.
Questions for staff? Oh, go ahead, Mary.
Thanks, Jessica. So, questions back on the actual drawing. So are we trying to represent, because I know within this area, there's like all of the trees and there's supposed to be the sidewalks, but is that within, we have you told us about that building line up along Creek Bend, but is it represented in here like within these other lines where the 20 feet are on the other streets? Is that what that's supposed to represent?
No, so essentially what they're doing with this section is the pedestrian realms are going to exist within the right-of-ways for these, and only partially on Creek Bend. With that being said, we require those, the city won't have any maintenance of those pedestrian realms. Are publicly accessible, but the HOA is going to maintain responsibility for those. That's why they're allowed in the right of way, but not city maintenance responsibility.
Okay, so it's not really represented here, but I mean, it's within the block, is what you're saying.
It's required on every street. So unless there's something unique, like what we're seeing on Creek Bend, you're not going to see a build line specifically for a pedestrian realm. The pedestrian realms will be captured through construction plans of those roads, and it's something that staff's going to review and approve per the code. So that's how that will be approved, reviewed, and at some point implemented in the field through construction.
Okay. And then, since this is just a section, and this will be built up, I'm guessing, before any of the others, what will we do about drainage? Where's the water gonna go?
Robert Wilson, Assistant City Engineer, will answer that question.
All right, thank you, Jessica. So this site obviously is an old business area.
Yeah.
So there's an existing drainage system. There's existing pavement out there. This area is actually, this section itself is a parking lot. They're removing that. We have a drainage study that we've reviewed that looks at the overall change in that impervious cover, and we're reviewing back to the original conditions. And as long as they don't exceed that, it doesn't make the conditions for drainage, it doesn't change them. So that's what we're reviewing.
So that's just all of that drains into the creek? Is
It
that
currently
what goes-
drains, so there's a, here on the plat, you can see right here, there's a storm drain, and then there's another one here that drains it into Oyster Creek currently.
And I guess there's no filtration or anything on that either, right?
That's typical across the city.
This is- Okay, thank you.
Other questions? None in here? Go ahead, Tim.
You said that I'm going to address what you said in the tonight. You said that it's going to be addressed from the Muse. So each property is going to be addressed from the Muse side.
Yes.
So do the Muse have vehicular access?
No, it's pedestrian only.
So how's that going to work with 911? They use addresses, and they're going to drive up the alleys. Did you check with emergency services for addressing on this?
Our fire marshal is fire marshal with emergency services also reviews these plats. And we've gone through all that when we wrote the code, that how that was gonna occur.
Okay. As long as they understand it.
Yes, I thank you.
Okay. Is this going to be a gated community? This section? Is there going to be a wall around the outside of it like that? No, there's no gate. So we don't have to worry about a wall on River Creek inside that pedestrian corridor.
The pedestrian corridors will be open.
It'd be
yes,
open. So the
yes.
frontage, they're walking right out onto the sidewalks of that pedestrian corridor.
Yes, sir. And then if
Okay.
we go back to our concept plan with this, the goal is that you would be able to, walk on a move from here and make it all the way, through radial development with a continuation of additional homes that are going to be built.
Okay. And then just, are these in section 1? Are all of these structures, are they connected or are they separated? Are they detached or are they all connected?
So my apology, I meant to let you guys know. So all of these lots, which I think are 1 through 30, are townhomes, they're attached product. And then everything else that's in blocks 2 through 4 are all urban homes, and those are not attached.
So the string of, let's say, lots 20 through 30, they're all attached in one structure, or are they like 2 structures or 3 structures? How are they grouped? I'm just curious because we've got 0 lot lines butting up against each other on 2 lots. And I assume that means it's a connected building, but I don't see that anywhere else. So I didn't know how that was working.
I will have a representative from Lovett answer that question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Adam Williams with Lovett. Yes, to address that, so we have townhouse along Creek Bend Drive, and those are in groupings of 3 and 2. And so the kind of maximum length of your attached structure would be 3 townhouses together that share 2 party walls between them, and then green space between kind of the next grouping of townhouses. The rest of the homes, the urban homes, kind of one alleyway back, are essentially detached single-family homes in a more compact, more dense form factor, but with fully detached, being able to walk and access all around them.
Okay, I still understand the 0 lot lines. Then, if they're not attached, how do you have a 0 lot line on that one side?
Some of our 0 lot lines, what we're addressing is some of these homes face onto easements or even greenway reserves where we're preserving a lot of the mature live oaks there. And so in some of those cases, the 0 lot lines are essentially giving them the sense of having their home kind of open onto a reserve as well. And so there's no neighboring structure there next to them.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Tilton, any questions from you?
No questions for me.
All right. Well, then hearing no further questions, I will make a motion that we approve the Lake Point Green Section 1 preliminary plat with no conditions. I've got a second from Commissioner Patel. Any further discussion? All right, please vote. All right, that passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Item 6A, Planning and Zoning Commission liaison reports from the June 23rd and July 7th City Council meetings. Do we have any reports on either of those meetings?
On the June 23rd, there's nothing to report.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Vice Chairman Hart, anything from the other one?
Yes, on July 7th, there was also nothing to report.
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
Nothing pertaining to planning and zoning to report.
That's how we interpreted. Thank you for your attendance at those meetings and for the information. Item B, city staff report. 6B, just to be clear. I don't want Angela to get mad at me or anything. Maybe redo the
She'll
whole
come after
meeting.
you, yes, no. Good evening, everybody. So your next meeting will be July 23rd. We're still formulating that agenda fully, but we know we will have at least a plat and likely a workshop for you on some additional code amendments. And then you should all soon, very soon, be receiving an email from me related to the Texas APA conference. We've finally found some information out, so it's, if you want to jot this down for your calendar for this evening, it's October 14th through the 16th in Irving, Texas. And so we'll be sending an email around to see who all would like to be joining us this year. So I'll try to get that out to you tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, and I'll visit with you briefly about the meeting on the 23rd. Don't need to do that now.
Absolutely.
Any other business? All right, now we'll move to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Thank you very much. Appreciate the second from Commissioner Parikh. All in favor? Aye, that motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned. Good night, everyone.